Ooh, what's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 120 of the Stand Up Guys podcast. I'm your host, the incomparable Zach Jones, joined as always by my bro ham from the same mom ham, Lester Jones.
Hello, everybody.
And of course, we got the ninth wonder, Chocolate Thunder, laying down the law and going in raw. The no condom wearing, STD daring. He'll risk a little clap so he doesn't have to fap. The phenomenal A.J. Singh.
Hello, everybody.
Well, guys, I usually start off asking you what you watched this week, but this week I'm going to do a little something different. I'm going to go first just because I've been watching some stuff that I wanted to talk about. Since last we talked about TV, I found two very good things that I watched and one not so good that I'll get to. But I'll start with the good news first. You guys smell that? I smell a mystery. That's right. You guys know I'm a fan of almost everything Holmes. Sherlock Holmes, Mycroft Holmes, John Holmes. Well, now Enola Holmes, bitch. I'm, of course, referencing Enola Holmes 2, the sequel on Netflix. Did you guys watch this by any chance?
Is John Holmes a porn star?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you guys might remember, but almost certainly don't. The first Enola Holmes movie on Netflix, I was a little mixed on because I felt the mystery kind of took a backseat. It was more of like a coming of age movie that centered around that rather, and the mystery wasn't really. It was just kind of in the background, and I liked that movie okay. But I like this one more because I think that they got her introduction out of the way in the first movie. This one could concentrate a little more on the mystery. So I like that aspect of it. You get a lot more Henry Cavill as Sherlock Holmes. I mean, he was in the first one, but not nearly as much. And so you get those two interacting. And it's just like a really charming, fun movie. I'm hoping they make a third one. I really enjoyed it. I will say, so they also, because it's, of course, in the Sherlock Holmes universe, this movie introduces their Moriarty. And, I get Moriarty's, like, a good character, but I don't like that, like, Sherlock Holmes doesn't really have a rogues gallery. It's just Moriarty, basically. And, like, even when you think it's someone else, it's actually Moriarty, like, pulling that other person's strings, I'm like, fuck, give him a rogues gallery, right?
Moriarty always seems to does he always escapes, or?
Yeah, he always escapes.
He's always like one step ahead.
It's just like, I don't know.
Who's that guy on MacGyver that he always thought it was?
Oh yeah,
dead?
Murdoch.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, MacGyver, like Murdoch would like get in a situation where it's like he had to have died. Like there's no fucking way he didn't die, and then he'll just like come back to life in another episode. You'll be like, how?
He fell off like a 3,000-foot cliff
into like fire, and then he was like, tigers ate his body, or so we thought. But no, I just is Sherlock Holmes in the public domain?
Probably.
I might have to write him a couple more villains because fuck, he needs them. But yeah, man, Enola Holmes and the sequel, well worth your time on Netflix, I think. So after that, it put me in the mood for a mystery. I love a good mystery. And so I was like, damn, I want another mystery show, but like I didn't really have one that I'd seen. But I was flipping around Amazon Prime, and I happened upon a thumbnail of a mystery show I'd never heard of called A Private Affair. Now this show is actually a Spanish language show, and so like I started it, and at first it had like the English dubbing. And it was fucking awful. So I was like, okay, I can't do this. So I actually turned on the Spanish language track and watched the subtitles, and that was a lot better. Trust me, if you do it, that's the way I recommend.
A Private Affair.
A Private Affair. So it's set. Actually, I don't know if it ever says exactly where it's set. I think like the 1940s, probably, or so, around there. Anyway, so the show centers around this woman who's she comes from kind of a wealthy family, like she's, I guess, an heiress, you would say. And like her father was a detective, and so she kind of wants to follow in his footsteps. But of course, like society doesn't allow women to be like detectives. It's one of those things. So she like basically like reads a lot of like crime magazines and stuff, and even like in this show, like fashions like some of her own like detecting equipment, you know, and like uses chemistry and stuff. I mean, a little bit of that, but basically, she ends up, you know, as these shows do, she happens upon a murder, a stabbing. And so she ends up getting involved in this case, even though society doesn't want her to. But she ends up. It's a fun show. But she ends up.
Mamacita, no detecto. I don't know why I had to say that.
She ends up kind of convincing the family butler, who's played by probably the only person you might recognize,
Michael Caine.
That would be cool.
It's
but
always Michael.
He's always the butler.
no, I believe his name's Jean Renault. You probably the only thing the thing he's probably best known to American audience for is he played Leon in that movie Leon, aka The Professional.
Yeah, he's been in a fair amount of stuff.
Right. And he's really good in it too. And I mean, it's a breezy show. Maybe like 8 episodes or so. I watched it in like a weekend, and it's really like a fun show. I highly recommend it, and I think it just came out like this year, so I'm hoping like they make more. But even if they don't, it didn't leave on. It wasn't like on a cliffhanger, you know. But I really had fun with it. You know, the interesting thing about that Jean Renault is like I was like, isn't he French? And this show's in Spanish, and like his little bio on Amazon said like he was born in like Casablanca, which is in Africa, to, I believe, Spanish parents, but then when he was 16, like they settled in France. So like I'm thinking he's like probably speaks like 3 languages. But I just always thought he was a Frenchman. But yeah, that show was really good. So now you guys smell that? Smells like shit. Now, as you guys know, I signed a deal with the devil where I have to watch every superhero show ever made. But luckily, there's no time frame on it, so I can take my time.
Take it to the grave.
So this only took me probably like a year and a half. I finally finished the final season of Supergirl. And whoo boy, let me tell you, I mean, saying that they phoned this season in is I think doing a short change to the phrase phone, because this was rough. I mean, I think Supergirl as a show is always somewhat flawed, but I found like a lot of the earlier seasons, you know, completely watchable and at times even enjoyable. But man, this last season, whew, it was rough. I mean, that's why it took me so long to get through it. Like, I watched some and I was like, oh, I got to take a break from this shit.
I'm burning out in general on superheroes.
Man, imagine if She-Hulk was like much, much worse and 6 times as long.
It's hard to do. It's hard to do.
And you would be getting the final season of Supergirl. And plus, like, I think, as happens to these shows, I think their budget was probably slashed too, because, man, did the effects look bad and cheap. Holy shit. I do not recommend the final season of Supergirl, to say the least. But you know what? Another one checked off my list. I think I have to be in rarefied air to be a guy that watched all of
that is
Supergirl.
some determination. Like,
It really
I
is.
watched some of Supergirl. I watched some of season 5, and I was like, man, this is rough. Like, if you got to what season you said? How
I
many?
think this was 6.
Man, like, if the writing continued to go down as it did.
Oh, it did. It did.
You might have lost a few brain cells watching that.
And I had so few to work with. Man, yeah. Whew. That was an endurance one. I'm glad that's over with. The only other thing I wanted to mention, not really anything I watched, but R.I.P. to the voice of my childhood, Kevin Conroy, voice of Batman.
Batman.
Man, only I think they said 66 years old. I think he like died of cancer or something. It's like, man, it sucks. But yeah, shout out. Of course, my favorite show, Batman the Animated Series. He was the voice of Batman, and he also did the Arkham video games and a lot of like. I think he did quite a few of like. I mean, at least a number of those like. Straight to home video like DC animated stuff too. So yeah, that's my rigmarole for the week. You guys watch anything interesting?
Man, I watched 7 hours of the God of War like storyline.
It amazes me that you'd rather watch it than play it.
Man, it's such a good story. It's like watching a movie.
I mean, I'm sure it is, and I do want to play that eventually, but I wouldn't want to just watch it. I want to actually play it.
I don't think I'll ever get to play it. Just with the nephews, like they'll never let me get to the TV and actually play anything. Maybe, I don't know. I still do want to play it, like in the future. Like I don't know if it's going to be on PS4. I don't know if it's just a PS5 release.
I believe it. No, it's both. It's PS4 and PS5 both.
Okay, yeah. Then I'll get it on PS4. I think my nephews don't know this yet, but we got them a new game console, so they're gonna be playing that probably from now on, and I'll get the PlayStation, so I'll start playing God of War actually.
You don't have a TV in your room?
Not yet. No, we have a TV, but we haven't put it up. We just have the one big one in the living room.
Oh, okay.
But I can put one in my room. But man, this storyline, this game was so good, so fun to watch. It was just a blast. Like. So they introduced Thor early in the game, kind of like they did in the last game with Baldur.
Yeah, they actually, the very end of the first game, they introduce him.
Oh yeah, right, they do, and he's just like he starts out, you know him as a black and white, just evil Thor, like bad guy. He killed all these giants before, but they flesh him out. They give him some development, and you see like his side of things. He has a family too, so you learn like how he's doing in Asgard, and what Odin's up to in their personal lives and all that stuff. And it's really just so much fun watching this whole storyline get fleshed out. Everybody fits into it. I felt like perfectly. The hype was so much since the last God of War.
Right.
It was so good, and this one lived up to it. And I thought somehow met expectations, which were nearly impossible.
Yeah, that sounds cool. It is always better when the villain you understand their motivations.
Yeah.
And they're not just like a mustache twirling villain. You actually go, oh, okay, they have a side.
Yeah, and there's growth for all the characters. Like they go from like some people being like happy-go-lucky and almost like they haven't had any troubles to like now they're burdened and they have like all this trauma from what's happening in this in the events that are happening in this game. And there's just so much like the characters, like I said, development, like from beginning to end, they're completely different people, some of them.
I listened to a few reviews of the game, and really the only knock I heard against it is apparently there's like a sequence where you got to play as Atreus, like the boy, and apparently like people don't find that part of the game as fun. They find it kind of tedious or something like that.
I think it's just that we're all used to Kratos. Like he's just a fun person, the fun character to play as. Atreus is like he doesn't have the backstory of like slaughtering the Olympic pantheon.
Right.
He's not this like out of control fun character. He's just like a kid that's still learning his way. But and his powers aren't as cool. Like Kratos is like he can go into rage mode. In this game, I don't think he goes into rage mode as much. I don't think that's like his main power like it used to be. But Atreus' power is more that he can like change into different things. Like he can change to like a bear or a wolf, stuff like that. And we've seen that in games before, but I think that's like not as intriguing as Kratos' whole story and his gameplay, and people just like the character more. And Christopher Judge, I think that's his name, the character voice.
I think so, yeah.
He's really good, man. I don't know what they do. Maybe they like do a little special effects with his voice afterwards, but it just sounds great, and the acting is great.
Yeah, like I know those video game awards they have each year like don't really mean anything, but he was nominated for like best performance or whatever.
Yeah, it was really good.
The only real knock I had against the 2018 God of War is like, I think like story wise and environment wise, like it's probably superior to the older ones, but I didn't find the actual gameplay as fun, and it was definitely more difficult as well.
Right, right. I heard the last one actually is harder than this one.
Oh,
Like,
really?
when it's played in like the hardest mode, like this one's actually easier. Um, but I don't know. Like, yeah, that game was I don't know. I don't know. I can't say I haven't played them. You know, I just
Right.
watched the.
Well, another thing I didn't like about the 2018 one, and I guess this is a very slight spoiler for that one, but if you haven't played it or watched it by now, you're probably not going to. But you start off that game with like an axe that kind of has the Mjolnir power, where you can call it back, throw it, and then call it back to him. And I like that axe for like puzzles and stuff,
Yeah.
but actually combat with it, I thought sucked, and I could never get the hang of it. It almost felt like that thing where you like rub your stomach and pat your head at the same time. Like it was just always awkward, and I never got good with it.
Okay.
But then, luckily, eventually in that game, you get your Blades of Chaos back,
Okay.
and then like fighting with those is a lot better than fighting with the axe.
Yeah, in this game you do have, I believe, the Blades of Chaos. You have the axe, and you can also just fight with your fists. Like there's a few ways you can do it, I think.
Oh yeah, you might have been able to fight with your fist as well in the other one, but yeah, I definitely like the blades better than the axe.
Right.
I mean, it is cool to be able to like throw the axe and call
Yeah.
it back, but just like yeah, fighting with it was always awkward, and then like I'd lose track of it and be like, where? Oh, yeah, I got to call it back, and it's like, it just feels weird to have a hectic fight with the axe.
The axe is still like a major part of like the puzzles because you do have to like freeze stuff and like go back and like.
That's cool. I like that element of it.
Yeah, so you'll still have that, but yeah, Blades of Chaos. I definitely saw like half of the gameplay that I saw was with the Blades of Chaos. So.
I know in the first game, like like your skill tree, you could like build up certain parts of it, and like I actually built up the part where you could have Atreus like help you like shoot enemies with his bow and arrow.
Atreus is more useful in this game. Like,
Yeah, I like doing that on the first game.
yeah, he's pretty powerful. It's like having a real ally with you this time, like somebody who's equal in power.
Man, just today I was playing more of Horizon Forbidden West, and like it's a good game, but I'm like some of these open world games with just so much like bloat in them. I'm like I want to finish it, but I don't like just like golden pathing the game and just doing like the main. Like I like doing the side missions and side quest things, but eventually, like it's just too much.
So in God of War, the side quests are really interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're fun. They're fleshed out really well. Like I've seen some of the quests like after the game is done, even, and they're still really interesting. Like they go into like the past of Kratos and his wife, and it reveals more information as to the story.
Oh, that's always good when the side missions like feel consequential.
Yeah.
And feel worthwhile.
Yeah, this is a really thoughtfully developed game. Really great.
I know in the 2018 one, like I think I probably did most like the story side missions, but like when I finished the game, I had the intentions of going back and getting like all the collectibles and stuff, but I just never did.
Yeah, I've never been one to do that. That's just always a little too tedious for me. I think the game that I played like that the most was Fable, just because like it was an experience just playing that game. Like it was fun going to those little towns, and they were beautiful and stuff like that.
Right.
But otherwise, like side quests, never. I'm about the main story, and especially with games like Oblivion and Morrowind and stuff like that.
Oh, all the Elder Scrolls
I
stuff. Yeah.
never, I could never get to the side quests. I was like, man, what is the main story? I gotta do that.
Right. Yeah, I love open world games, but some of them are just tediously like filled with stuff.
For sure.
That's why I really like both the Spider-Man game and Spider-Man Miles Morales games, because those I 100%ed those. I did all the side routines, and like I don't know what my overall like time in those games were, maybe like 30 hours or so. Like you could actually do everything, and you didn't have to dedicate your life to it, and so those games are perfect as far as like time wise.
Yeah, I'm good with those games as well. When it gets to like 60 hours, then it's like, man, there's
too much.
I haven't touched the tip of the iceberg with this game. Like, it feels like there's so much to do, even when you're like 20 hours in. So
yeah,
it's just overwhelming.
What have you been watching?
I don't think I've watched too much this week. I'm caught up on Andor.
Well, let's talk. I don't think since you started watching Andor that we've talked about it. So, like, what have you thought about it so far?
I mean, it's been good. It's a very like human side of the story of like this guy who gets caught up in things and slowly he's becoming like a rebel leader, but like he just goes through some shit and he's a little bit squirrely. He's like a shoot first, ask questions later type of guy, which I liked. I like that quite a bit, and he's a bit of a rascal, and he's always
A rascal.
I don't know what to call him. That rascal. But yeah, if he gets like in a pinch and he's like, yeah, if I don't kill this guy, bite me in the ass, he just shoots him and just like moves on.
That rascal.
Yeah. He doesn't take chances like that. But yeah, no, I like the character, and I really like the way they've handled the Empire, because they've actually shown like the people side. It's not just a bunch of kind of faceless stormtroopers. You got a lot of people with different ranks. You have a lot of intrigue. But yeah, the Empire, you have people who are just like, devout soldiers who are just like by the book. You've got people with low morals. You've got traitors inside the Empire. One of the good guys, the rebel, he's kind of like a rebel leader. Like he's an organizer. He's trying to put things together. And like, he's on the right side of things, but at the same time, he's got this like Machiavellian side where he'll fucking do anything. Like
You're talking about Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah,
He's
and
good in this.
he is fucking really good.
I love that scene in the latest episode where he has to like, that ship gets
he
him in the
monologues
tractor
that guy?
beam. Well, the like tractor beam sequence, and then he's got to fight.
Oh right, yeah, like he escapes like I don't know what they call him, like the Imperial
Right.
ship. But yeah, that was a good scene. But yeah, he's really like him. Yeah.
So supposedly, like, there's been a lot of debate online, as always, with like Star Wars fans, where a lot of them are like, "This isn't Star Wars," like because there's no like lightsabers and there's no like, childlike wonder or something. And I'm like, okay, yeah, there's not those things, but it's most definitely like feels like it's in that universe. And like, I like the difference in tones. I like that you can watch this show and it's like kind of depressing and serious, and then if you want, you can flip on Mandalorian and you get something a little more lighthearted.
Well, I mean, even if you go to like the first Star Wars movie, there's like two people have the Force.
Right?
It's not everybody has the Force. So this is a lot. You see some of the bureaucrats and the low level tactics and strategy, and it all feels like it's very smart.
Yeah, it feels more complex than some of the other Marvel stuff in a good way.
And they've thrown in a number of other stories too that were really good. They had a heist/suicide mission. They had a prison break.
Right.
Like they've had some really engaging stuff in there.
Yeah, I think there's been 11 episodes so far, and they've really like crammed a lot of like interesting stuff in those episodes, I feel.
Yeah, it definitely feels rich. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen much of Star Wars, but isn't it like galaxy wide? Their empire, like.
Yeah,
They're trying to take the entire galaxy. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so I mean, there's got to be like a lot of different kinds of people and scenarios going on in this war.
right.
Yeah, it can't just all be like Jedis and this and that.
Exactly. That's why I find it kind of refreshing. I mean, yeah, seeing a lightsaber fight can be fun, but like not everybody in the universe is a Jedi, and like there's a lot of just regular people.
They use blasters.
that use blasters, yeah.
And unlike stormtroopers, these bad guys can actually hit people.
That makes them dangerous.
And you wouldn't think it's interesting, but they also have like people trying to make political moves inside the Empire, like that one woman.
Right. Yeah. There's a politician who's making moves, and
Oh, that's right. There's also Mon Mothma.
yeah.
And you kind of get like she played a small part in like some of the movies, but this is like kind of how she got to where she got, you know?
I liked in the heist part where it was going along and I was like, this plan is like, how is this going to work? It doesn't make sense. And then there was like a traitor on the inside and it all came together. I was like, nice.
Yeah, that was smart too.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, it's really a well put together show.
Yeah, it feels like there's a lot of really well fleshed out characters.
Yeah. Now, I got a question for you because I listened to, I think Mark Maron, he did a podcast with Tony Gilroy, who's the guy who created this show. And he said the plan was to tell what happened in the 5 years leading up to the Rogue One movie.
Okay.
And like, he said, and so like, he said there was going to be like these time jumps, right? But he said when they started developing the show, like, they saw that this story they were telling, like, just this section was going to take up like a whole season.
Right.
And so he said, like, now the plan is to have one more season, just one more season that has time jumps that covers like the next like 4 years. Now, does that sound better to you, or would you like maybe an even longer like series that explored those years in more depth, seeing as how what's set up in this one?
It depends. If I would think they could go too fast, maybe, because he is developing, and it would be nice to see some of those. Like, you don't want to lose any of his arc in there.
That's what I was thinking. Like, time jumps can be
A little
tricky.
disorienting,
Yeah.
But I mean, if they're all like kind of one-offs of him in different times and places where something important's happening, I could see it working. But if you're trying to get like 4 of those in a season, that seems like a lot.
See, that's my thing is like in one season covering like a 4-year period, it seems like you would be losing some of the depth that you have in this show.
Yeah, you could probably flesh it out. If the other seasons were as good as this one, you could keep people in. How's the viewership on this one? Is
So supposedly, like, I don't know what the numbers are because who knows, but apparently not nearly as much as the other Star Wars shows.
right?
Which, again, I can understand because I can see like kids aren't going to like this show.
Yeah, you don't have kind of the flashiness.
Yeah, it's not a flashy show at all, but man, it's so good that it always disappoints me when a good show like doesn't do good numbers. You know what I mean?
But yeah, we'll see. I'm ready to stick with it. I like this. Well, I think Boba Fett's at the bottom. The Obi-Wan, I like this better than Obi-Wan.
Yeah, me too.
Even though Obi-Wan did have some stuff I liked, but
And then, did you like this better overall than The Mandalorian?
I don't think so. I really like The Mandalorian.
It's tough. I think I might like this show better, but it does not have the fun factor of The Mandalorian.
It's a little bit apples and oranges,
It really is.
but I do really like
really
them both.
See, I almost feel like I want to see the Marvel show that's this tonally different than all the other Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
Just break out and do something else.
It doesn't mean it has to be like super crazy grim or anything, but I would just like to see something that's so different in tone that you go, oh, wow, I didn't expect this.
Yeah, something that doesn't have to necessarily fit in.
Right.
I could see that happen. Like I have faith that Marvel is going to make like a very diverse universe, like that does have like its darkness and seriousness, and then its lighthearted She-Hulk, and like I think that's what they're trying to do. I do hope so.
What was that one we just watched? The Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm glad they're doing like just some like, hour-long specials like that one and the Guardian special that's coming up, I think maybe like next week or so.
Yeah, the Werewolf that's probably my favorite one they've done in a while.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
I'm looking forward to Loki season 2 next year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm actually looking forward to this Quantumania movie. Like I'm curious to see it because I think they might have 2 Kangs in it. So I think we're gonna jump like pretty head first in this whole Kang situation.
I mean, I do want to see it, but like, it is an Ant-Man movie, and like the other Ant-Man movies to me have been kind of a mediocre section of the MCU. So like, fingers crossed. But I mean, at least we do get like to see Kang and he's going to play a big part going forward. So that's an interesting hook, I guess, of seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, I think they know that Ant-Man is what it is. Like, people have this kind of like it's like a B or C tier in Marvel, right?
Right.
But that's why I think they put King in this movie, because I think they're trying to like fix it up and make it jazzier and make it like more people interested in the character.
I think just because it is an Ant-Man movie, it will be a pretty lighthearted movie.
Yeah, likely will. Just because of Paul Rudd.
Right. But I still am looking forward to it. And then I think that Secret Invasion show is next year. I'm kind of looking forward to that as well.
Starring John Holmes.
That's no secret about that.
That's a callback.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some interesting stuff on the horizon, entertainment-wise. So, a lot to look forward to. Before we get into stories, do you guys got any other stuff you want to talk about? Any shows? Anything you can think of?
I don't know if I talked about Midnight Mass on this podcast. I watched Midnight Club.
Oh, right.
And right after Midnight Club, I watched Midnight Mass like a week later.
I know he watched that. Like,
it seems like it's a Stephen King spinoff or story.
Well, Mike Flanagan did the remake of it, I guess. I'm not sure if it's Stephen King or it might be.
I could just be wrong on
it kind of deals with like, I didn't see it, but it kind of deals with like vampires or something.
There's like a vampire. It's like
it's on the island, right?
Yeah. It's like Christianity.
Yeah, right,
mixed with
yeah.
white. Yeah. It's like this Christian view of like the what we think of vampires as, but they like mix it into their religion.
Oh, okay.
And they think of him as like an angel, and it's just fascinating to see like, you know, like how devout Christians like try to rationalize like their religion into like what's, you know, what seems like a dark thing that's happening around them. It was cool. And you know, there's always that one character who's like overly devout, who's like kind of creepy. And you know, there's her in there. You'll see. You get to hate her. So,
but you liked this show?
It was a really good show. Really great. I think Rahul Kohli was the sheriff in the show. He was really good. Everybody was really good. I thought the preacher, the guy who plays the priest, he's so, you know, he was very well acting. Just the whole show is well acted.
Is he the same guy that's in that Legion show?
I don't know. I haven't seen that show.
The one on FX.
Is it I Am Legion?
No, it was just Legion, that kind of X-Men.
Oh, Legion. Oh, right. No. The main character?
Well, the preacher guy.
Oh, I think it is.
You know the guy in Legion with like the messed up eye and walks with a cane?
Yeah, I think it is him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Wednesday Addams. I think that comes out this week.
You've been talking about that.
Been
Like,
waiting.
Are you a big like
I'm ready.
Addams Family guy, or is it more like Tim Burton?
I remember enjoying the Addams Family, but I don't know. I've been watching the little adverts and stuff, and it looks like it's going to be solid. And generally, I do like he has a strong stylistic preferences and stuff, so I generally appreciate
Tim
that.
Burton's got a strong style, but I feel like his overall work is very uneven. Like some of it's good, some of it's bad.
Yeah, well, even with those guys, even if it's like there's a chance they're going to hit it out of the park, then I'm interested.
Yeah, if I hear good things about it, I might check it out.
I haven't heard much about it, actually. I think I heard about it like a few months ago one time, and no advertising or anything like that. So.
Yeah, Netflix, I think, sometimes doesn't put a lot into advertising.
Oh, it's going to be on Netflix?
I think so.
Yeah, it's Netflix.
So it seems like sometimes they just like drop shit, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess it's there.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder if I don't give some of their original stuff enough of a chance. I miss the days when there were like ratings on things where I could be like, oh, yeah, I'll give that a chance.
Right.
Or it's just like, oh, it's some title I've never heard of. And I'm like, I can live without it. I haven't heard any like, hoopla.
I don't know. There's so much like people make fun of Netflix because like they'll take anything.
I mean, it was probably a good strategy for a while, but I think they're going to have to rein it in and
Make better content.
find a way to get better content. Yeah.
You know, I do wonder about that with Netflix because, yeah, like, you know, unfortunately, like every place under the sun made their own streaming service and took all their stuff back. So now with Netflix, like, they do have to, like, start hooking people with their original stuff. And, like, they have a huge subscriber base, but like, is what they're doing, like, good enough to sustain it?
Yeah.
Like their original shit.
Yeah, I mean, they took such a market share, and now, you know, it's they got to switch gears a little bit, I think.
They should definitely like advertise whatever good projects they're working on, because like I don't hear about them at all. I don't know what's going on at Netflix.
Yeah, I think it's just pretty rare that I know what's coming out on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, sometimes I do get those emails. It's like, oh, we just added something you might like, but my algorithm's so screwed up from the stuff mom and dad has watched on my profile that it's usually like not something that appeals to me.
Yeah, I feel mine's too tuned in. Like, it's too repetitive. It's like you could give me some other random stuff. You don't have they have too many of the same movies in different categories.
Why does every streaming service do that? They got all these different categories, but then you're just seeing the same shows and movies in every single one of them.
Yeah, it's not great design.
And you're like, just give me an easy thing to see, like A to Z, what you got available. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, something better. It's not perfect.
It's not perfect. I don't even know if it's good at like showing you like, you know, all the stuff they got.
I mean, it's a hard problem in general, but yeah, it's not as good as it could be.
Well, speaking of not as good as it could be, should we get to stories for this week?
How much time we got left? Good Lord.
Oh, we got about 25 minutes to burn.
Ooh, I hope you got something.
Well, we just so you guys know, we do have some. We'll make something entertaining, but we were talking like it's been since we did the Wakanda review last week. We were like, oh, we got 2 weeks of stories we can dig through, and like all of us were like, boy, we're not finding very much. But let's see what we got. So anyone who hasn't watched or listened, we're gonna go around the table here. Everybody's gonna bring a wacky news story from around the globe. And we'll see if we can't just make something funny and or entertaining out of it. And as tradition dictates, AJ, we usually start with you. So what do you got for us?
All right. A man formerly described as the world's dirtiest man has died soon after he was finally talked into taking a shower.
Oh, yeah. You hear that? I'm the dirtiest man alive now.
Amu Haji reportedly gave up washing 67 years ago after becoming convinced that it could bring him bad luck and even kill him. Sadly, he did in fact end up dying shortly after he had a shower, though no link has been established.
All his skin fell off.
State media said he died at the age of 94, although previous media reports about him in January this year said he was 87. The hermit, known as Amu Haji, a term of endearment for an older man, lived in Iran. He was known for his unusual lifestyle choices, with the Tehran Times reporting in 2014 that he liked to eat raw roadkill, drink from puddles, and smoke a pipe filled with dry animal excrement when he ran out of tobacco.
Well, that's how you live to a ripe old age of 94.
Yeah, he got there. I mean, in 2018, he was pictured smoking 4 cigarettes at once while covered in soot. Here's some pictures of him. He said he believed washing would bring him bad luck. A short documentary called The Strange Life of Amu Haji was made about him in 2013, as well as his hygiene habits. He was known for his good health, with scientists even running tests on him last year to see if he had any diseases or parasites. Dr. Golem Reza Malavi from the School of Public Health in Tehran said that all they found was a trichinosis parasitic infection, which appeared to be causing no symptoms. He concluded that he must have remained so healthy by developing an extremely strong immune system. State-controlled news agency IRNA said that after rebuffing requests to shower for years, he finally relented after being told that a wash would help him win more friends. They quoted a source saying, "For the first time in a few months ago, villagers had taken him to a bathroom to wash, but he became ill and then died at his home this weekend in Dejka, a village in Fars province. His funeral was due to take place today in Dirm Farashband." He was known as the world's
Let's
dirtiest.
hope it's not an open casket. Like,
Yeah.
close that
Well,
somewhere.
he took a shower. That's what killed him.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, this is a big win for dirty people. 'Cause, like,
You see what happens? You see?
yeah. Villagers believe that he decided to live in isolation after suffering from an emotional setback in his youth. Local media reported that he previously twice managed to avoid attempts to get him to wash. On one occasion, a group of local youths tried to take him to a bath before he ran away, and on a second occasion, men from the village put him in a car to drive him to the river, but he opened up the car door and escaped while it was still moving.
Tuck and roll.
Man. After that, they had given up until recently when they took this time to a proper bathroom and took him this time to a proper bathroom and gave him a shower. Perhaps surprisingly, given his remote lifestyle, he was known to be well educated, and one recent visitor discussed the pros and cons of the French Revolution with him and his views on how well the Russian Revolution turned out for the people. He also followed current affairs but complained that international publicity made life difficult for him, and although his neighbors respected him, he said people turned up occasionally to taunt him and even throw stones at him. Sad ending. That sucks. But,
I feel like this guy had the Three Stooges syndrome that Mr. Burns had, where like so many diseases that are trying to get in at once, they get blocked in the doorway.
right? I mean, I don't know. This guy.
I'm convinced. I'm done showering. I'm just gonna go dirty.
I mean, we
Gotta
live
get
like
those
that for a
natural
long
oils.
time. Yeah.
Maybe then my work will let me work exclusively from home.
Or they'll try to forcibly drive you to a shower. Man, but yeah, I don't know. There's pros and cons on both sides, I guess.
Gotta get dirty. All right. Do we dare tread over to the manifesto?
Tread is a good word. Here's a short one for you. Steve Jobs' worn-out Birkenstocks sell for $218,000 at auction.
Is it that guy who bangs footwear?
Is the lesbian museum of How did Birkenstocks ever get associated with lesbians?
I don't know.
I don't know, but that clip from like a $100,000 pyramid is funny. Where he's like, "These are those things that lesbians wear," and the guy's just instantly like, "Birkenstocks."
That's the game.
Well, what would it have been? What was the answer? What do lesbians wear? Flannel?
Apparently Birkenstocks. I think he said these are those sandals that lesbians wear. But I mean, who worships Steve Jobs enough that they're like, "Oh yeah, I want his dirty Birkenstocks"?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Just because
It was the guy from that last story. He's like, "They're so dirty. I can wear these."
these fit my aesthetic.
If you're a CEO, is that just like an intimidation game?
It's a mind game. Like, I went in and asked for a raise, but then he was wearing these Birkenstocks, and I was like,
No.
If he's dressed like that, then I can't dress better than him.
Nice shoes, Mark. Jesus wore sandals. Think you're better than Jesus?
I mean, if they can get that much out of his crusty old Birkenstocks, like,
Yeah.
some of these women should
How
be
much
able
for
to
a
sell
cum
their.
sock?
I know these women should probably sell their panties for like insane, and even a more insane amount than they're getting out of them. Like, what if J-Lo got into that business or somebody, you know?
Yeah. Sell some good panties.
I don't understand people, man.
What would you pay for a pair of original Ruth Bader Ginsburgs?
You don't want to know.
I've been thinking about this a lot.
Well, speaking of like how much would you pay for something, how much would you guys pay for an emotional support bear? Because some women are paying $160 for them. Single people and those doing long distance can now get an emotional support bear for $160. Are you lonely as hell? Are you sick of cuddling up to sweaty men to find they snore and fart in their sleep?
Yeah.
Well, I knew it. Well, we have a solution for you. Let us introduce you to the loving bear Puffy, the man-sized emotional support bear that is here for all your cuddling needs. So if you're doing it long distance, you're single, or you just need a little spoon every once in a while, this bear is for you. We won't lie, the human-like arms of this massive plush teddy are mildly horrifying. Now, they do have a picture of this thing, but the picture on here, like, the arms are covered up. But I saw another picture of one where the whole thing looks like a bear, but then it has, like, my arms, like human-looking, like, hairy arms. And I'm like, what woman would want that?
Is there a person inside this thing?
No, but look at this thing. Like, it's like a person length, like
It's like a bear head on a mannequin.
yeah, but it does have like like bare legs and shit. I don't know. It's really weird.
I'm not sure why, but like recently the algorithm's been trying to give me the ads on the internets, and I've been getting like the boob and the butt pillows. I'm like, where is this coming from? It knows me too well.
Your phone's been checking you out.
You know what's weird is, and I don't remember ever looking, because when I go to Facebook, I just like look at the family's feed, whatever they put in there. Facebook did this thing where they start like recommending videos, but it apparently thinks I'm like a huge pervert because like it keeps recommending these ones with like women basically getting as naked as Facebook will allow, I guess. And like they keep playing these ones with like busty chicks in the you know those like
Maybe you stop watching them.
well, those
They're like he paused on this thumbnail for 2 hours.
I guess, those like amusement park rides where it like slingshots like the people like up and it goes back, up and down. So like it keeps having like, busty women like in those.
I've seen those.
And I'm like, what did I watch initially that it keeps like giving me these? I don't know.
And if you click on them, where does it go to?
That's a trick that they all do. I had that with the YouTube Shorts. Like when I first started seeing YouTube Shorts, it was just a bunch of busty, half-dressed women like doing stuff. I was like, why am I seeing like what is this?
They're like, we know what guys
Maybe
like.
they don't know you, and they're just like, we're gonna play the odds on this.
That's what it is.
That's probably what it is. Okay. If you can look past the horrifying hairy arms and the price tag of $160, you're in for an A-grade snuggle session. The massive man bear is the brainchild of Bulgarian company Puffy Bear, with the product described as a very personal product invented by an ordinary woman who is afraid of being alone. Hey, at least they are brutally honest. The bear stands at 170 centimeters in height and replaces the need for physical presence. The massive teddy can also be easily positioned thanks to weighing in at a mere 3.2 kilograms. Puffy Bear explained why they decided to create the massive man-sized teddy. We women are often left alone for various reasons, a Puffy Bear representative said. The brand added, that's why Puffy is made with a human shape and size to replace as much as possible the lack of physical presence when we need a hug or lean. User reviews have been rather positive. One review from a woman named Leah said, the first few days I felt a bit strange until I got used to his presence because he seems like a real person. But now I can't imagine walking in and him not being home. Another reviewer named Carrie said, since Puffy has been with me, I fall asleep much easier and faster. I love its softness and the sense of security it gives me. Susan admitted to being a grown adult that is still afraid of the dark, adding, I've always been afraid of the dark, but since he's been in the bedroom, I feel like I've stopped being afraid. Susan added, and the noises outside don't startle me. I just snuggle into it and fall asleep without problems.
They should startle you. You should definitely be aware of the noises.
Yeah, there's like a fucking crook in her home. She's like, I feel so good.
He walks in and sees somebody with like a grown-ass man teddy bear.
And he's like, back away, not today.
You out crazy.
Not today, bitch.
So while his arms might look like the stuff of nightmares, Puffy Bear seems to keep the scaries at bay. Good for you, Puffy Bear. I mean,
Kind of reminds me of Puff Daddy.
eventually this is going to change its name to P Berry or all this stupid shit. By the way, is Puff Daddy, did he ever settle on a name? He went to P Diddy.
Is he
And
Diddy now?
is he just Diddy?
I thought. I don't know.
I feel like no one's talked
what
about him.
What did he do? That was a good line.
But I feel like most women who buy this probably have like a furry fetish. But
The thing is, it seems like you could get like a layabout boyfriend who just sat on the couch all day. That seems like it'd be pretty easy a goal you could have.
ladies, I don't cost $160.
I mean, just get a dog. I mean, that's pretty much what you're asking for in this situation. So, living thing that's
true, and a dog actually
would be
might
better,
fight
yeah.
off like an attacker, you know.
But it didn't say if this teddy bear had like a schlong under the jogging pants.
It doesn't. I mean, if it doesn't, that's going to be their next invention.
That's an extra.
Well, I mean, then we would be obsolete. We would have to go to war with women and these bears. And
We go to war with the bears.
The bears are winning.
We're going to burn down the Puffy Bear factory. It's stealing all of our women.
That's the AI's grown teddy bear.
save some bitches for the rest of us.
I can't compete with
A bear with a dick? Come on.
Maybe we should just start, buy some bear suits and see if we can get lucky.
$160.
Well, that was my story. AJ, you got another one for us in the hopper?
Let's see what we got here. Let me see. Oh, yeah. This one's okay. All right, let's go with this one. A woman explained what it felt like when she was in a coma after being hospitalized last year, and it sounds like the weirdest dream ever. When a viral TikTok about the sensation of being in a coma started doing the rounds on social media, Kaylee Francis decided to share her own memories of the freak experience. Kaylee explained how she was in a 10-day coma back in January 2021 after a serious asthma attack, but her brain was convinced she had been awake the entire time. The story will fully make you doubt your own surroundings, so read on with caution. Kaylee decided to share her coma after spotting a viral tweet which read, "I just saw a TikTok where somebody talked about what it's like to be in a coma, that you could feel time, have dreams, and literally just feel stuck. Oh my God." The general assumption for those lucky enough to have never been in a coma is that it would feel a lot like a really long sleep. Kaylee explained what it was like to be in a coma. Kaylee has backed up with viral TikTok story confirming that in her personal experience, being in a coma feels like you're wide awake. "I was in a coma and I felt like I was alive, living my life," she wrote. "No idea I was in a coma whatsoever. I'm thinking it differs from person to person." That being said, Kaylee did go on to share how during the coma she was convinced she had joined a cult. She had woken up. She was certain the doctors and nurses were treating her were part of it, so her perception of reality wasn't crystal clear. Naturally, Kaylee was flooded with questions from curious strangers who were mind blown by this new information. Offering some further background, Kaylee explained, "Yeah, it was a crazy experience. I have asthma, my medicine wasn't working, my boyfriend just called the ambulance. I believe at this point I was unconscious. I went into lung failure. I had COVID and RSV, respiratory I'm not going to try to say it. Developed pneumonia. I was in a coma for 10 days. When I woke up, I thought I was in an accident, like a car accident of some sort. You're all laughing, but when I woke up, I was hallucinating." She asked if she could hear anything while she was under. She replied, "No. They said they placed music by me. They talked to me. My boyfriend also set up FaceTime. He read to me every night. I never heard a thing." Asked if she felt like she had been in a weird limbo for 10 days, Kaylee said no. She didn't elaborate on that one. It all sounds pretty freaky, but if you ask Kaylee, the toughest part of waking up from a coma, she recalled feeling scared, like she wants to escape when she came to, but she didn't have the strength to walk. That took me literally 2 weeks to walk slowly, she said. I couldn't even feed myself. My nurses had to feed me for the first week. I was peeing in a tube, TMI. But yeah, it was horrible. As with every story told on Twitter, Kaylee did have some didn't happen accusations, but had a pretty solid response to non-believers. If it happens again, I'll remember to take a selfie for you. I mean, that's horrifying, though, man. Like, if you're actually like kind of awake or can sense everything around you in a coma, that sounds like people who have been in like 30, 40-year comas, that could be torture, man.
I mean, just the fact that you can be in a coma that long is crazy.
Yeah.
Man, can you imagine losing like decades of your life in a coma and then all of a sudden you're awake and you're like, that would fuck with you bad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know many cases of that. Are there cases of people waking up from decades-long comas?
I think there are actually.
Dang.
Yeah, the longer it goes, the worse your chances. But yeah, there are cases of people been in a coma for a long time and woke up.
I want to say once I saw like a movie that had like Reba McEntire and she woke up from like a 20-year coma. I have no idea what the fuck it was.
This sounds like Lifetime.
It could have been. It could have been. I'm sure it was something either my mom or my sister subjected me to.
Oh, those are a War on Men. Those ABC Family
God.
and Lifetime
Oh,
Hallmark.
I know, torture. Man, yeah, Lifetime movies. Whew, they're rough. Well, we still got some time. Manifesto round two.
How much time? Okay, I don't usually just read articles. Well, I might just read this one. So I was looking up stories of weird people in history. So we'll start with this guy, Tarare. A French peasant boy known today as Tarare was born near Lyon, France in 1772. From an early age, he was insatiably hungry and cried for food even if he just finished a meal. At age 17, the gluttonous yet emaciated Tarare snuck into village barns to eat the livestock's feed. He had an unusually large mouth, was always sweating, and emitted a putrid stench. Tarare's parents kicked him out, and he found himself in Paris right before the French Revolution. He parlayed his uncontrollable hunger into a career, eating strange things for gathering crowds. He ate all types of unpalatable objects, including live animals and even large stones. However, the money dried up when the French Revolution began. Tarare became a soldier, but unsurprisingly, he was chronically ill from compulsively eating stray cats and non-food items.
Oh, I thought they were going to say he was like eating the downed enemies.
Well, he said he was like eating trash and stuff. The field hospital reluctantly fed him a quadruple ration until one of the generals saw a unique opportunity. So he came to Tarare about being a spy, and basically the idea was he was going to eat these secret messages because he could eat pretty much anything, and he'd courier the messages that way in his stomach. So he agreed to this, and he ingested a wooden box containing a note for an imprisoned French colonel. Tarare crossed Prussian lines, and within 30 hours was captured. Had betrayed France and was savagely beaten. The Prussians dumped Tarare close to the French lines, and he returned to the military hospital, where he resorted to drinking stored blood and nibbled on the dead residing in the morgue. He was suspected of eating a toddler, and when he never outright denied it, the hospital chased him out.
Oh my!
Wait. So, what was the deal with the wooden box? Was he going to shit it out? I mean,
I don't know if it was regurgitation or coming out the back end, but that was his job.
man, this guy must have had like a stomach of steel.
I mean, it wouldn't choke him on the way down, like.
I don't know. He was like compulsively eating just all the time.
Crazy.
So he died around the age of 27. His autopsy revealed festering intestines and an entire body that was putrefied and filled with pus.
Ugh, yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah, just eating everything. They said his digestive system was freakishly mutated. His stomach began at the back of his throat and continued all the way down.
Oh.
His stomach was so big that his heart and lungs were displaced. That's crazy.
So, do you think he was born with a weird stomach, or did eating all that stuff just stretch his stomach out in weird ways?
I would guess there's probably stretching because he's just compulsively eating, like he always feels hungry. But also at the same time, like must not be absorbing what he needs out of the food or something.
Yeah, he's got to have a weird condition where, like, if he always feels hungry, then some sort of reaction isn't happening that's supposed to.
Right, there's something. But yeah, it sounded like he just like, probably his whole stomach was just stretched through his whole like torso. And he was just like constantly shoving shit in and could never get full.
Man, he was born messed up, man. That's what it sounds like. To me.
But if he's eating like wood and weird shit, I can imagine that when it gets into his intestines, it's probably causing tears
scraping out the other side.
And you would think this guy would be in crazy pain when he takes shits and stuff.
Yeah,
I bet his asshole was as big as his stomach.
Well, I've watched a competitive eater, and like one of the things they do is like they'll just drink like a gallon of water to stretch out their stomach so they can hold, however much they want to hold. But apparently his stomach is stretched out. But yeah, that eater that I watch, like he'll eat and then he'll skip a couple days and go without eating because he just ate like God knows how much. But he's like, yeah, there's some pretty epic shits in there.
There's some work on the back end.
Man, this guy sounds like a monster. Like, literally a human monster.
Like, he's eating just random animals. He eats
Cats,
dead people.
What was the toddler? Do you think the toddler that he may have ate was at least dead first?
Well, it sounded like a toddler went missing.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
And, like, they couldn't prove it was him.
But he didn't even deny it.
But he didn't deny it, yeah.
I'm not saying. Let's say hypothetically, I ate a kid. Would that be bad?
It's like the 1600s. Everybody eats kids. The kids get lost, man.
It was a different time, right?
Yeah, I mean, you assume there's times in human history if, like, a kid went missing, you like, what resources do you have? I don't know. But yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, this guy was just genetically built to not do well.
Yeah, so he had something seriously messed up.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of, I don't know if it's a TLC show or what it is, but like, like the woman who eats mattresses and like the guy who eats glass, and
this guy's just like
anything,
rats, garbage, like whatever you put in front of him is going down the hole.
Well, I watch competitive eaters all the time. Like, they put down like amazing amounts of food, but this guy, I imagine he would put them to like shame. Like,
they make it sound like it's like 24 hours a day, just like shoveling it in.
If he was eating the feed from animals, like, that's nuts, man.
But like the competitive eaters, like most of them will stretch out to like a gallon size or something, which you figure that's pretty big. But like this guy was like
all the way from his throat. So.
Yeah.
Do they ever mix like competitive eating with like hot peppers?
There's a lot of eating challenges that are spicy.
Yeah.
Spicy challenge.
They have like I know in the UK they have like these pepper competitions where they start out with like these lower level heat and they go all the way to like the Reapers or whatever the hottest peppers now, and they eat like 2 or 3 of them at once.
God, can you imagine the shits those guys take?
I'll try.
Like, I want to wipe it away, but I don't want to.
It's like burning through their toilet paper. It's like going.
They have like a special bidet that's spraying their asshole with milk.
Yeah, you gotta like get some baking soda and like
an ice cream
powder yourself.
Well, guys, we did it. We made it past the hour.
It was a stretch today.
Yeah, not great.
You think the midterms just sucked all the life out of the universe?
Maybe. Oh, that one ballot initiative passed, so they can't punish us with slavery.
All right. Well, they can't call it that anyway.
Yeah, they at least won't call it that.
Yeah. They just cross it out and put working for the state.
Well, you guys got anything else before we wrap this bad boy up?
God of War looks good. Play it.
All right, guys. Well, everybody, we thank you very much for watching and listening and playing along. If you will, please subscribe to the YouTube channel and to the podcast and the audio version on your podcast surface of choice. Leave us comments. We like hearing from you guys. Leave us thumbs up, positive reviews, all that good stuff. And, man, are you guys, do you think we should switch from Twitter? Twitter's getting a lot of heat these days.
I don't know. Let's hope it's around. I don't know.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Well, while it's still around, why not do the last thing you might do on there and come and follow us? Guys, where can people find you on Twitter?
A name for this too, and that's the number 2.
At unsolicited SUG.
And you can, of course, find me at Zach Jones Live. That's ZachJonesLive. And that is going to do it for all of our shenanigans and poppycock this week. Please, please, please tune in again next week. Bye, guys.
Take care.
Yeah, have a good one.